Very good day to all of you. On behalf of cashewinformation.com, I welcome you all to the second trade talk. Today's trade talk would be on Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire, 2021 cashew crop. Last week on May 14th, we had the first trade talk wherein we discussed Benin and Burkina Faso. Today, Mr. Konate Issa would be our distinguished speaker who would share about what's happening in Ivory Coast. As you all know, Ivory Coast is the largest producer of raw cashew nut in the world. This year, at the beginning of the season, the government had estimated a crop of 900,000 metric tons. What has happened to that? We would get to know from Mr. Konate. Before I invite him to speak on the raw nut situation, a brief introduction about our distinguished speaker for the day. Mr. Konate Issa is the supply chain engineer with more than 10 years experience in the cashew sector. Presently, he is the general manager of Olam Ivor cashew business in IVC. He is handling the entire procurement and logistics operations for the company. He is playing a very key role in the cashew industry development of Ivory Coast by serving as the Vice President of Association of Cashew Exporters of Ivory Coast, AECCI as it is called, and he is also the General Secretary of Processors Association. I fondly recollect Mr. Konate's instrumental role in getting the Honorable Prime Minister when we had the opportunity of organizing World Cashew Convention in 2020 in Abidjan. Prior to joining Olam, Mr. Konate had experience in shipping industry with Maersk Line and imports with Unilever. So here is a person who is on the ground and fully aware about what's happening in the market to tell us about the current situation in Ivory Coast. With this introduction, I request Mr. Konate Issa to take over the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sylvester. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay, perfect. So thank you so much for this introduction. I would like to congratulate you to make this event happen online, because with this COVID situation, we don't have opportunity to connect physically with each other, but this kind of platform will definitely offer opportunity to the experts of the sector, to the stakeholders, to share their views about our crop, about our cashew sector. And to start with, I would like you to share the presentation. I would like to say that Ivory Coast is today one of the most important country in the cashew sector in the world. And recently we have seen government being really involved in organizing the sector in Ivory Coast with the cashew board, encouraging local processing and also encouraging investment in the cashew sector, being export, processing, or trading even in the country. In the past 2 or 3 years, we have seen Ivory Coast reaching more than 900,000 metric tons as crop for the entire country. This year, the expectation was around 900,000 when we started this season. And we have seen some really particular phenomena during this season. One is the yearly start of the crop in Ivory Coast. We started this season in mid of Feb, where we were receiving arrival in the port in Abidjan. So that tends to show that the season will not be that long like what we used to see in the past. So our estimate is that by mid of June, the season might be over. And right now, almost 95% of the crop have been taken out of the hand of the farmers and will be either we exporters, processors, or traders. So I try on this map to show you the main production area of the country. And I will start with the eastern part. If you can click on the presentation, please. You will see that the eastern part of the country, which will be nearby Bunduku, will be roughly 100,000 metric ton production zone because they are very close to Ghana border, and we are able to capture around 100,000 over there. The western part of the country will be around Segela belt, which will be another 150,000 metric ton, with the quality in the range of 48 to 46. That will be in the western part of the country. Then the northern part of the country will be the most important crop in this country. That will be around 300 to 350,000 metric ton. So the quality in this area will be in the range of 47 to 46. And the last region will be the center around Kachula, where the quality also is quite good. That will be around 48 as average, and that is 230,000 metric ton. So overall IVC will be 840,000 metric ton as per our estimate this year. Yeah. So if you can move to the next slide, please. So looking at how the price varies during this season, we try to put some bracket from Feb to May. You always say that we started the season with a minimum price of 1,200, and toward the end of April, price were really coming down to the level of 1,100 for some small quantities. But later on in March, we have seen that the 1,200 was the maximum, and then we came to even 1,300 in April, and in May we are in the bracket of 1,300 to 1,280. And then you will see that quality keep on varying. And in February it was 49, March also 49. April and May we came down to 48, 47, and 46 going forward. If you look at the shipment, 25% of our shipment continue to go to India, and 75 to 80% will go to Vietnam. And those are like end of April figures. And we continue to see a good flow of stock to India and Vietnam for the rest of the season. Next slide, please. So we face a lot of challenges this year, mainly logistic challenge with a lack of containers in the port. That was really a headache in the month of April, with very few shipments happening from Abidjan. A lot of space constraint on vessel with different shipping line, with some blank sails also from Abidjan port. This is where we're expecting some delay in the shipment. We have seen some congestion in the two ports also, San Pedro and Abidjan, and we have seen some long queue of containers not being able to be sent to the terminal. And another phenomenon will be the increase of the freight. Freight almost doubled from what we used to have in the previous year compared to what we are having this year. But we are seeing good improvement for June and July. We strongly believe that the flow will be far better in June and July for the exporter. So overall, the season in Ivory Coast, I would say it's almost finished. Maybe we'll see some small arrival from now till first week of June or end of June, and shipment will be quite better in June and July. And we expecting the flow of crop to really stop by end of May. Yeah. So for a country, we used to have 900 plus 1,000 metric ton. Our estimate for the month will be in the range of 840 to 850. So depending on how the rest of the season progress, those figures also can progress and can be adjusted going forward. Thank you.
That was a very clear and crisp presentation. While I wait for some questions, a couple of things which is on my mind is like, there were concerns about crop in the northern part of the country. So your estimation or a difference between the initial estimates by the government and your current estimation, is it mainly due to the decline in northern side, the crop in the northern side? Why this change in the figure? Can you just please explain that?
Yeah. I think overall, the drop will come from east because the flow from east was quite low compared to what we used to have. It's not about the north, but it's really about the eastern part of the country nearby the Ghana border. Yeah, but like I said, we are still in progress of this season, and those estimates can be plus or minus 5% here and there.
Okay, you very nicely captured us basically the typical outturns of various regions. That gives a very, very important information. Is there any other, can you also give some sense in terms of nut counts, how various regions fare, or is it the same standard across?
So it's quite uniform in Ivory Coast when it comes to net count. We don't have any issue of net count. It's really about the quality, which is varying from one region to the other one. The net count is really uniform, mine below 200.
Okay. And any comment on the moisture percentage, please? Because we have had some comments like, the best moisture control we had seen in 2013 and 14, where every cargo from IVC was consistently below 9%. And but that kind of stringent enforcement we are not seeing these days, is one comment which I heard. But how has been this year, what has been the general moisture in the cargo which was leaving?
You know that mainly the Cashew board is controlling the quality in the port area with tracking the moisture in the warehouses. So whatever export is made out of Ivory Coast is at least 10% or below. So there is no cargo shipped out of Ivory Coast above 10% moisture.
Excellent. So one other slide which you have mentioned, which says about 300,000 has been shipped out so far. This is as on very recent statistics. It is as on which
That will be our estimate till end of April. So there is good progress in May also. So that was accurate till end of April. And 25% of that will be in India and 75% will be Vietnam.
Okay, because that information people may be interested, while you say 95% has moved out of farmers, how much is still to be priced in, is something which people might be interested in knowing actually, so that's basically would be something of interest to people. That's why I raised that question.
Yeah. So actually, I think only logistic constraint delay the shipment, but larger part of this cargo will be sold. People have been experiencing some delay in their shipment, but I think they are able to cover quite a good quantity, and balanced quantity will maybe be in the hand of quite two or three big exporters in the country.
Okay. One question, is on the cross-border, which any number would you like to put on how much would have moved across the border for this season?
Well, quite difficult to put number on that because I think we are seeing crop flowing out of the country, but we also seeing crop flowing in the country. It's possible, so it's quite difficult a number on those statistic. Yeah.
Okay. Because usually people put around 70 to 80,000 tons. Again, it's based on observations. There is no official statistics. That basically this cross border is largely a function of taxation differential. What is that you feel is it the differential taxation?
About taxes, it can be also about minimum price enforced in Ivory Coast. So there is different factors in impacting the flow between these countries.
Okay. Last year, we had seen for the first time Ivory Coast processing over 100,000 tons locally. So when you say this year you are estimating about 840,000 tons, how much you feel would have been bought or would have gone to processing sector this year, the local processing?
My
Any
estimate
guesses?
for local processing will be so far between 80 to 85,000, but I'm sure that they will touch the 100,000 number of last year. Yeah, with the number of processing unit coming up in Ivory Coast, I think they're continuing to source locally and might be very close or even touch the last year number of 100,000.
So can you be a little louder? I couldn't hear the last. This. Uh, so
So
what is that you
I
are
said
putting as a
we
number
might,
for this year
yeah, I said we
processing?
might touch last year number of 100,000 metric ton.
Uh-huh.
Because so far, local processor bought anywhere between 80 to 85,000 metric ton.
Okay. Do you see that
Continue to
100,000
buy.
increasing to some other higher number this year because more processors are coming?
Yeah, more processors are coming, but some of them are not fully operational. So they will take
Okay.
each year for some trial. And then
Mhm.
we already like 6 months away, or let's say more than 6 months away from next year. So they might buy for the next 6 month production. And then in February or January 2022, they will buy full capacity of the processing unit.
Okay. Okay. Uh, 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 Now I'll take some questions from the chat box. 1 second. There's a question would the drop in production in East because of variety or type? Any comments on that?
I think it's not about the variety, it's really about the weather in the east, which was quite different from what we used to see in the rest of the part of the country. So that really impacted the size of the crop over there.
Okay. One more question. You said that the season started mid-February, but the government opened started on March 11. Was it to allow all the players to buy up country and then bring it to Abidjan? This is the question.
No, the official price in Ivory Coast got announced, I think, on 4th or 5th of February. And then we started receiving cargo in the port around 17th of February. So they were like first list of exporter released in end of January, and they released a second list of exporter by I think 11th of May, oh sorry, 11th of March. So they were buying started around 17th of Feb.
Okay. Okay. And I was just going through Ivory Coast, of course, the incidence of COVID by and large is on the lower side, but Jan, February, March saw increase in number of cases. Of course, in April, it is much better now. But during the season, did managing COVID, was it anyway a challenge? And did it affect the cashew movement?
Yeah, I can say that Ivory Coast government have been quite successful in controlling the COVID cases in the country. They have been ahead of the curve, taking a lot of measures to secure the country. We even had curfew last year, and Ivory Coast started vaccination recently. So we are seeing a lot of effort from the government, and we are also seeing the impact on ground with less cases and less dead because of COVID. Last year, the impact of COVID was quite important with the delay in the start of the season, but this year we are seeing very less impact. Only the shipment are really impacted right now, but that's a global situation because of the COVID and the congestion in some port in Asia.
Excellent. One question, it's average yield per hectare. If you have any figures, can you just help us out with that?
Well, we don't have any official figure for the yield in Cote d'Ivoire, but my guess estimate will be anywhere between 500 to 600, 650, depending on the region.
500 to 650 kgs of raw cashews per hectare of plantation is what you say as the range across Ivory Coast, based on your observation.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much. What are the major challenges in RCN processing in Ivory Coast as compared to India and Vietnam? Would you like to take that question?
I think basically,
Specific challenge.
yes, basically we'll have three main parts. One will be the productivity of the worker and the efficiencies of the worker. Second will be the production, which will be quite high in Ivory Coast compared to Vietnam. And you have also to look at the availability of the technology, the machine, the availability, the spare part, and all this, which is like quite easy in Vietnam compared to Ivory Coast. But then the government of Ivory Coast, seeing this difference between Vietnam and Ivory Coast, is supporting the local processor with an incentive. Whenever they export kernel from Ivory Coast, there is a subsidy given by the government to encourage them to process locally.
What is the subsidy now, sir, on the finished kernels and then on Burma?
Finished kernel will be 400 CFA. That will be roughly $135 per metric ton of ASEAN. And kernel will be 150 CFA. 150 CFA will be around, I think,
Okay, 150 CFAs for Burma kernels. One
right.
question related to Burma was that last year, 55,000 tons. No, so far in the first 4 months, it's 7,000 tons of kernels export. Out of that, 5,000 has been Burma. So, what is the scenario for Burma kernels, and any numbers which you want to put for Burma kernels for this year?
Well, I mean, processors here in Ivory
And
Coast, some of them, yeah, go ahead, please.
yeah, because in that question, they have said that when that would mean about 55,000 metric tons. I don't know how it is 55,000, around 5,000 in 4 months. Okay, so the person says that when it seems that this year's processing could be anywhere around 170,000.
Last year crop, lot of last year crop got processed this year only. So that
Okay,
quite delay the buying from the local processors, but they continue to buy. So it will not be 170. I think they will buy for their own processing this year, which will be in the same range as last year, 100,000 type. But so far they bought 80,000, 85,000. So my point on Boma kernel is that it's a learning curve. Some of the processors really prefer to start with the Boma kernel so that they
okay.
learn well before moving to the full processing. But the ideal case for the country and for the industry is really to go to the full processing and create more employment in the country.
Okay, so you are saying that one Burma could be a step through, but it may not be the final destination. Most often, people would want to go for fully finished, given the incentives given by the government. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, in the initial stages, when the government launched the scheme in 2015, it was said to be for 5 years, extendable up to 2 more years. Uh, Now, where do you see, like, how long this this, because is there any timeline, or the government is given that its intention to continue this? Because that was in 2015 and we are in 2021. So we have already passed that 5 years and we are into that 2 year extension period now, technically.
I think so far the IVC government is committed to support the local processor. This incentive is in force from now, I think, from 2017 till 2022, and post that, we'll see with the government what is the next step. But for the moment, it's in now till 2022.
So does it mean that when the new processors who are coming now, like, they would enjoy this benefit only for 1 year, or they will also get this 5 year period from today?
No. It's not this way. I think this incentive is supposed to finish by 2022. The hand period of the incentive. But like I said, the government is really committed to support the sector. So we
Absolutely.
form out. Yeah.
Ivory Coast government, yes, we all know it's one of the most progressive government. It listens to the industry. It takes very prompt actions, and the way in which they have encouraged processing is admirable and then worth following elsewhere as well. One question in French I have roughly translated in Google using Google Translator is that from Mr. Emmanuel. I read it. I see an improvement in quality compared to other years based on what you have shown. Can you please explain what led to this improvement in raw cashew quality? This was the question.
So I think the price of raw nut is really attractive for the farmers. So they spend time in drying and cleaning also the cargo they are bringing to the port. And the cashew board and different companies also are training the farmers on good agricultural practices. So they know how to handle their plantation and how to harvest the cashew, how to improve the KO. So we are seeing a good improvement in the country in terms of quality and moisture also.
Great. I think, like, with that, more or less all the questions are handled. Now I would request uh, any participant who has come in, there are 126 of you, thank you all. In case you want to share some opinion or pass some information or maybe ask your question, maybe show your hand. Yeah, I can see a hand raising. Mohan, can you just unmute? Mr. Zamble, Theodore. Mohan.
Is okay?
Yeah, okay, please go ahead. Be short.
Okay, good morning,
Yeah.
good morning, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, my name is TB Theodore. I'm an Ivorian living in Togo.
Okay.
I appreciate this initiative to be the participant of this video conference. I have my company in Togo here when we are working in the exploitation of the cashew nut and cashew shell. So I think that we can cooperate together to go forward. This is why I wish to be in a participant of this conference. We have also some challenges on the ground in here in Togo. So I'm very happy to have the boss, Mr. Issa, who is our chairman, to share with us the reality of the Ivory Coast. So I think that after that video conference, we can have more information about our duty, our responsibility, both in the ground, in our relationships. So I share with you your idea, and I'm very, very happy to continue with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Konate, there is a question from Mr. Rajiv Kumar. According to the official figure, 840,000 collected from traders exporters, assuming 100,000 tons for local processing and 100,000 as cross border. Then what is, there is some short crop, the 100,000 remaining crop, it means the total crop in excess of 1 million. You want to respond to that, Mr. Konate?
I cannot get a question. He's giving a comment, or you're asking me to comment what he said.
Yeah, he is asking, like, that based on what you have said, and he has put over and above that 100,000 for cross border and 100,000 for processing and 100,000 remainder crop. That means, like, are we seeing IBC crop in excess of 1 million overall crop, including what is moved across cross border?
What I said as 140 is the estimate of the crop for Ivory Coast. That includes also local processing. Okay, so
Okay,
cross-border.
840 includes local processing, and you have said about 85,000 so far is a estimated amount purchased by the local processors. Correct,
Right,
sir?
right.
Okay. Anyone wants to ask a question can just raise your hands. Otherwise, like, we'll close in 5 minutes time. Yeah. So, yeah, what is the real reason of container congestion in Abidjan this season?
We're seeing different crop in the cocoa, also shipment getting delay, and we have seen a lot of delay in Asia in the month of December and January because of COVID. Some of the ports were really congested, and the freight rate right now from Asia to Europe or US is almost 3 or 4 times on what we used to have from Ivory Coast to India and Vietnam. So shipping line prefer even to take empties here and send them to those locations where they can make more money.
I understand. Yeah. So that route, basically Asia to Europe, is still on the higher side. It is almost 2.5 to 3 times the normal rate. So it makes sense for them to even take empty containers. Understand. And that's
Right.
a very logical explanation. But somewhere, like, in February, there was a comment from MSc gentleman that by around May, June, this challenge would get resolved. So are we closer to that one, or it is still a challenge to the freight rates basically between Asia and Europe is still a challenge? And do you see that getting resolved?
I think for Ivory Coast, we are seeing improvement from now. I think June, July, we'll see a good improvement.
June, July. Okay, there is one question from Mr. Amit. Is that would you see increase in export demand for kernels to USA and Europe from IVC?
Yeah, absolutely. With the trend of local processing we are seeing here, we sure that the demand to US and Europe also will keep increasing. Ivory Coast is the third exporter of kernel today after India and Vietnam. And there is a lot of initiative also to encourage Ivory Coast processors to send the kernel to US or Europe directly. And even local processors are being trained by the government also to
In the
understand the
institute, as the
requirement of the
Cashew
US
Institute is.
market.
Okay. Yeah. Any forecast for 2021 Burma kernel sales? Any number which you wanted to put
Really
as?
difficult to put a number of that.
Okay.
Really difficult to put a number on that.
I understand. Yeah, there's so many challenges. It's not a normal year. Maybe, like, it will. Okay, one more question. What practices are in North, West, and Central to maximize the production that East is not doing? You have said some numbers, west as 150, north at 300,000, center at 230. Why east is not doing that? What is wrong? That's, I think, is the question what Mr. Frederick has asked. You want to comment on that? Hello? Hello?
Can you hear me? Hello,
Yes,
can
sir,
you
we
hear me?
lost you. Yes, perfect. Yeah,
Can
please
you
go
hear me?
ahead. Yeah. I can hear you, sir. Please go ahead.
I said in East this year, we have seen a reduction mainly because of the weather. So
Okay.
in North and Center, the crop will keep increasing because of new plantation coming into production. And there is also a scope for this 500 kg per hectare to become 600 or 650 or even 700 if farmers are really following all the good actual practice.
Okay. That's very nice. And I think, like, we have no more questions. It has been fantastic, Mr. Konate, sir. You have handled the session so very well. I would say that one, like, you have been very frank and, like, very open to sharing all the information and guiding the people who have been in this session so far. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation and participating in this trade talk on Ivory Coast. And we really appreciate you for not only, like, what you're doing as a part of these kind of forums, but also as Vice President of Exporters Association and as well as the Processors Association. And we are very, very happy that, like, you are able to do so much for this industry. Thank you very much. All the very best to you and the ivory and cashew sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and I wish a great season to all the stakeholders. And thank you for this great initiative. I'm sure that we'll keep in touch. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Have a great day. Thank you very much. And with this, we come to the end of this second trade talk on Ivory Coast 2021 cashew sector. We have had a very, very clear and crisp presentation by Mr. Konate Issa. He has clarified most of the questions which has come up with the chat and able to, like, address most of the issues which has been posted. Thank you very much for all of you for your wonderful participation. And I once again thank Mr. Konate Issa, General Manager, Ulam Ivory Coast, for his time and efforts in, like, supporting this particular initiative. I also thank Mr. Mayank Srivastav for helping us in the coordination and making all the arrangements at a short notice. Thank you so much to all of you. And I would like to share one last bit of information. Next week on 28th of May, we are going to have the third trade talk series. That would be on Nigeria and Bissau. So see you next week. Till then, good day to all of you. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you very much. Mohan, please keep the platform open for 5 minutes so that people can network.